Hello everyone. Today we are going to learn about loops and conditional statements. In this particularly loops for and while loop in Python. So loops for and while loop in Python. In programming, loops are used to repeat a block of code multiple times without writing it again and again. Python provides the two main types of loops are called for loop and while loop. Loops are used to repeat the block of code multiple times. For example, I want to do some printing of some certain numbers between 0 to 1000 for n number of times. So from starting from 0 to till 1000, I have to print the numbers. For that, what should I do? I should write a looping so that it will start at 0 and it will end at 1000 so that it will print 1000 times. So you want to repeat a block of code for n number of times. So this block of code will be having from number from 0 to 1000. So this two lines of code is a block of code which is going to print 1000 numbers. For that, we will be using a concept called loops in Python. There are two types of loops. One is for loop and while loop. For loop executes a block of code for each item in the sequence. Inside the for loop, we will be using the list, tuple, string or range. How many items you are going to keep in the list? How many items in the tuple? String has a number of characters and range has a certain range of numbers from 0 to 1000 or 10 to 11 or 12 to 15. So what? This for loop is executing a block of code. This is going to execute a block of code. The block of code can be minimum 2 lines to 5 lines to 10 lines. But whatever the items present in the list, usually for loop, you will be taking the input in the list, tuple, string or range. The input items will be taken in this data structure. So for each item in this list, as well as in the tuple, each character in the string or range of numbers, we will be executing this block of code using this for loop. For item in sequence, for example, fruits is the variable where we are going to store apple, banana, cherry. For fruit and fruits, the fruit is a variable which is going to iterate through all the items in the fruits. And it is going to print each items in the list one by one. So the block of code is 2 lines. So this 2 lines of code going to get executed for 3 items in the list. So this for loop is going to help us to print these 3 items in the list one by one. So after execution the code, you will be getting the output like this one by one. Apple, banana, cherry. So the block of code is 2 lines. It is going to help us to print each item of the list one by one. So the for loop is the one going to help us to execute this. For loop, it iterates over every element in the collection. Ideal for fixed length sequence. If you have the sequence of length of items of fixed length, it will be the for loop will be definitely helpful. For I in range of 5, print of 5. So it is going to take the items from 0 to 4. When you are going to specify the range of 5, it will take from 0 to 4. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 is the output. That's what I said. In this, it is going to iterate through each element. The element is apple, banana, cherry. So it is going to iterate through every element of the for loop. In this, I have mentioned range of 5. So it is going to iterate through from 0 to 4. This is the way how the for loop is going to work. While loop executes a block of code as long as the condition is true. Till the condition is true, the block of code is going to get executed or else no. While condition, code to execute. Count is equal to 0. while count is less than 5. Print of count and you are going to increment the count. The first time count will be 0. 0 less than 5. True. Print 0. Next time increment to 1. 1 less than 5. True. Print 1. Next time the count will be 2. 2 less than 5. Print 2. Now increment the count to 3. 3 less than 5. Print 3. Next time the count will be 4. 4 less than 5. True. Increment 5. 5 less than 5. False. The program will come out. So it is going to execute these 3 lines of code, the 4 lines of code, as long as the condition is true. Till you check all the numbers count less than 5, you are going to execute one by one. Once the count less than 5 condition fails, you are going to come out of the program. So this is useful when the number of iterations is unknown in advance. Make sure to update the condition to avoid infinite loops. So you have to provide the correct condition so that you can avoid the infinite loops while executing the while loops. Loop control statements. Break, continue, pass. The break is a program. It immediately exits the loop when the condition satisfies. Continue. It skips the current iteration and move to the next iteration. Pass. Placeholder. It does nothing. For example, I am going to take some 3 items, apple, banana, cherry. And inside this for loop, I am going to have the if condition to check. If item is equal to apple, break the program. So when it sees the item is equal to apple in the iteration, it is going to break the program. So in this program, for a I in range of 5, so the element will be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So when the I is going to check 3 is equal to 3, it is going to break the program. It is going to print only 0, 1, 2. The same program, when you are going to use the continue, I is equal to 3, it is going to skip 3 and the rest of the things it will print 0, 1, 2, 4, 5. And pass means you are going to mention the condition, but after the if condition, you are not going to give any break or print statement. You are just going to give pass. So when you are going to give the pass empty statement, the program is not going to give you any error. This is the way how the break, continue and pass is going to work, and these are the loop control statements. Use for loops for fixed sequence. You know the length of the items. You should know. Use while loops when the loop depends on the condition. In the while loop, the loop is always dependent on certain condition. Avoid infinite loops by ensuring conditions will eventually become false. Please avoid infinite loops so that you have to check and update the condition properly so that it should not get into the infinite loop. Use break and continue for controlled loop behavior. So when you use the break and continue, when checking some condition inside the for loop, you are going to break the program. When checking some condition inside the for loop, you are going to skip that iteration and you are going to proceed with the next items. So this is the way how we are going to have the best practices in Python loops. While taking the course, you will go with the more examples. So loop type, for loop, known number of iterations, iterating over the sequence. So you know already, in the previous slide I had explained. For knowing the length of the iterations, we will proceed with the for loop. It iterates over the sequence of elements. For item in list. While loop, unknown number of iterations, always dependent on the condition. So in this, while condition is the syntax. I hope today's session was interesting. And if you have any queries or if you need any upgraded content, please post your queries in this below link. Thank you all.